Hey, comic book lovers. EMoney, the Old Man, and Thor the Dog of Thunder here with you again on a very hot afternoon. It's like probably 90 degrees out right now. So
look at this.
Yeah.
He's panting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to speed this along as quickly as we can. Get in the air conditioning. All right. So we have some cool comic books that we're reviewing this week. I know the Indies made a pretty impressive showing this week, right, boy? Did you read that one? Yeah, you read it. Okay. And we have some cool comic previews coming up, and we're counting down. Hey, what?
Sit.
Hey.
Sit.
We're counting down to Black Widow this week. So we're counting down, and I have a Scarlett Johansson Black Widow related Stump the Old Man question.
Lovely.
All right. There you go. Good boy. All right. So just like last week's episode of Loki, this is going to be short and sweet. This is Back Issues. All right, comic lovers, we're in here in the air conditioning now. And don't worry, Thor is also back in the air conditioning. We're going to meet up with him again in the garage a little later here. All right, so before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on your notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of some of these comics. All right, so before we get started, don't forget our rating system is based on a 5-shield rating system. Each comic gets 4 scores. We each give 2 scores, one for story and writing, and another one for artwork. And then we throw those 4 scores together to give it an average score out of 5 shields. All right, so first, we have a couple comic books that didn't make it into the top 3 that were advertised. The publishers were pushing them. They were anticipated. People were talking about them, and they didn't make it into our top 3 somehow.
But we want to tell you what we thought about it anyway. All right. So, first, it's number 1 in a 6-issue limited series from DC Comics, Infinite Frontier.
All right. So, Infinite Frontier, this one, if you look at the cover, you can almost guess it deals with the multiverse. And, usually with a lot of like crisis and multiverse stories, they get so bogged down in the minutia of the pseudoscience type stuff that it slows the story down and it makes it boring. This one moves at a pretty brisk pace, so not too bad. And it's nice to see. It's kind of cool to see this alternate version of the Justice League. Some odd additions, and also a few characters from the multiverse that you may recognize. So pretty decent story, decent artwork, which is why it came in at what, old man?
We rounded it up to 3.5 shields.
3.5 shields.
Respectable.
For Infinite Frontier. All right, so there's the first one. Next up
is Batman Reptilian. It's from the Black Label imprint of DC Comics.
All right, so this is one of those comics where, I told you, we rate it based on story and writing and then on artwork. Well, this is one of those things where one of those, brought down the overall score. Because Garth Ennis, who is the writer for this story, I really
always does a good job. Garth Ennis is one of the better writers in comics.
I really like the way he writes Batman. A lot of the, scary, intimidating things about Batman.
He gets the character.
Yeah, he gets it.
He gets him.
Yeah. Batman kind of lulls a mobster into doing what he wants him to do, and another scene where he's interrogating a suspect.
What's funny is he never actually threatens the guy.
Yeah,
Not directly.
What's so great about the story is, Batman, he leans in to the assumption that he's not going to kill anybody. And, he's, he says to the suspect, like, hey, you have nothing to worry about for me. Because everybody knows Batman doesn't kill, right? So, Garth Ennis, great writer for Batman. The problem with this was the artwork. The art is painted, and it's not good, my humble opinion.
If you saw our review from the last issue of Space Bastards, a book that is just dear to our hearts, and we actually loved the first 5 issues, we literally blasted that one out of a cannon because of Bisley's painted artwork.
Yep.
Now, I understand his next issue is going to be pencils. It's just going to be drawn.
Yep.
And maybe it'll be better. But I just don't think we like comics that are painted.
Well, there was one issue of Marvel's a while back that had a story involving a Hulk versus Wolverine fight, and the artwork there, which was painted, was gorgeous. I think that was the only time I gave artwork 5 shields. I mean, it was beautiful.
Well,
this, however, is not, in my humble opinion.
One of the worst things about it is it's so bleeding dark.
Yeah, I mean, everything is so dark. Like Batman, the background, the other characters, it's so dark it's hard to tell what's going on. And the way he paints a lot of the villains, like the Joker and Penguin, is just ugly. It's just ugly. I'm sorry, it's bad. So that's why it brought down the overall score of the comic book. And Batman Reptilian gets what?
Rounded up, it got 3 shields.
So that it came out at 3 shields really speaks to Garth Ennis's writing ability.
We both only gave it a 2 for the artwork.
Yeah.
So, now, we are going to get the next issue because of the writing quality. So, it was good enough that we're going to continue with it. All right, next up, the final issue of the Aftershock Limited Series, Nuclear Family.
All right. So this is, like I said, 5-issue miniseries, and it's been building up over the last 5 issues. And it's one of those things where you're getting the last few pages, and there's so much going on. I mean, the shitstorm is at maximum, and you're like, well, they can't possibly wrap this up. How are they going to do this? It's like they can't be 5 issues. And then the last few pages, you're like, oh, they did wrap it up. Okay. And you feel a little cheated. I mean, it's like it was a lot of drum roll, a lot of build up, and you just don't feel like it was much of a payoff.
Well, one of the things I didn't like was there's a major character who just kind of disappears in the end. Now, they do explain that I don't know where he's at, but that's the explanation. They don't know.
Yeah.
Right? That wasn't very gratifying to me.
So, a somewhat unsatisfying ending, which is why it didn't end up in the top 3. Nuclear Family number 5 gets what?
It got rounded up to 3.5 shields. So once again, still
respectable.
And I'll be honest with you, I still recommend that miniseries. I thought it was a good read.
Yeah. All right, and then finally, for our non-top 3 comics.
Well, this one wasn't one that we were really looking toward. We didn't know anything about it. It slowly slipped under our radar. The guys at Comic Book World were talking about it, and one of the guys recommended, hey, why don't you all review this and let us know what you think, because they couldn't figure it out. Well, this is a book that if it was written a few years back with DC, back when they had Vertigo, definitely would have been a Vertigo title. It is from Image. It's called Vinyl. And I'm sorry, guys, we read it. We can't figure it out either. I mean, it is so bizarre that I just didn't know what to make of it. Now, we're going to get the next one to see if we can figure something out.
I mean, there were, like, at one point in the beginning, in the middle, you think you got it figured out. Like, you got an idea where the story is headed, and then they hit you with, a whole new element to the story, and you're like, oh, okay. What the hell is going on here? And there's just a lot. There's a lot to this story, and it's kind of hard to make sense of. So I don't know. Maybe in the next issue it'll make more sense. But Vinyl number 1 came in at
3 shields. So we didn't think it was bad. We just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that once we read the second issue we'll get it. Good job on the art though. I mean, no problems with the book except for don't get it.
All right, so there's our anticipated comics non-top 3. They're right there. All right, so now we move on to our top 3 comics for this weekend. It is a top 3, not a top 4.
Now, don't think that means there wasn't a tie, because there was a 3-way tie for number 1. And so, as usual, we competed to see who get to make the decisions, and I'll let him pull one over on me because he says, let's play checkers for it. I'm like, all right, I'm a pretty good checkers player. I forgot. When EMoney was a kid, he used to go over to his great-grandfather's house, E.M. Moody, and they would play checkers for hours. and EMoney was one of the greatest checker players to ever grace this planet. So, my bad. I should have known better. And boy, did I get a butt stomping on the checkerboard. But at any rate, as EMoney selected these final 3 books that were in the top 3, he decided that number 3 would be Detective Comics 1038.
All right, so Detective Comics. So Batman is in the midst of a frame job.
Good one,
This
too.
Gotham mobster believes that Bruce Wayne was responsible for the death of his daughter. Now, the mobster here, he's like this big, beastly man. He's huge.
He's damn near the Hulk.
I mean, they don't, mention him having any like abilities or anything, but I mean, Batman's a pretty big dude.
Batman is like 6'4"-ish, probably 250.
Yeah.
And they show a picture of this monster just picking him up like he's a doll.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to have some giant in him, right?
He's a beast.
So, Batman is trying to hold this guy off, and he teams up with the Huntress in trying to take this guy down. And great artwork, and also there's a pretty good Beast story in here involving the Penguin. Also great stuff. Usually the artwork at least suffers in the Beast story, but still pretty good here.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. All right, so Detective Comics 1038 comes in at...
Well, all 3 of these, since it was a tie...
4 shields.
4 shields rounded up from 3.75.
Right, okay, so there you have it.
All right, number 2, per EMoney, is Robin number 3, a book that the other 2 issues, the first 2, were in our top 3 also.
Yep. All right, so if you recall the last few issues of Robin, Robin has entered a tournament on this island, sort of in the same spirit as Mortal Kombat.
And I'm starting to hear that theme music to Mortal Kombat every time I open that book.
Now, on this island, the rules of the tournament are that every contender can die twice in the tournament, which indicates that they lost the fight. And then, in the third time, you're dead for good. So, Robin, I think he's already died at least once.
Well, he died once because he was stupid. He picked a fight with somebody that he shouldn't have even bothered with.
Right. And in this issue, Connor Hawke, who is a son of Oliver Queen, is Robin's main competition, which is a little surprising.
Now, let me ask you something. Batman and Green Arrow square up in a physical combat situation. Who wins?
Absolutely Batman.
Easily.
Yeah.
He even handicapping. Tie one hand behind his back and he still wins.
Now, keep in mind, this is not the Green Arrow of the TV series Arrow, who, I'm sorry, he's basically Batman.
He's Batman.
Yeah, because he stole a lot of Batman stories in the TV show because, he fought Ra's al Ghul at one point.
Oh, yeah, it was their version of Batman.
Right.
But we're not talking about the TV show. We're talking about the comic books.
Yeah.
Green Arrow in the comic books,
Still
hero.
Still a gifted martial artist, but not on Batman's level.
No.
In fact, there was an episode of Justice League Unlimited where Green Arrow picks a fight with Wildcat in order to try to save Black Canary, and he gets his ass handed to him. And that was Wildcat.
I'm sorry, Wildcat can't take Batman either.
Right.
But I don't know enough about Connor. I mean, is he juiced? Has he got something extra going for him? I don't really know his background as well as I should.
All right. And also, at the finale, and old acquaintance of Damian shows up, which gives some dark implications for the next issue. So, Robin number 3, also 4 shields.
All right.
Number 2.
In a number 1 spot, a Image comic that has gotten better every issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first couple I was okay with, but number 3 I was excited once I opened it up, and this one, it's turned into a really good story.
So Shadecraft number 4 from Image Comics. Now this has been a pretty big contender for the last few issues, but this one, on top of a great story, had a lot of twists and turns in it. I think 2 major plot twists in this issue, which is what put it over the top for number 1.
Kudos to the writing staff. They did
Yep.
a great job.
Yeah. Great writing, great artwork, and put it over the top was the final twist at the end, which puts it at 4 shields, but also at the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
Shadecraft number 4.
I hear rumors, and it's just rumors, that one of the streaming services is talking to Image Comics about doing a TV show based on this comic. Now, I can't back that up. Can any of you all send me a link or information so that it's more than a rumor? If you can't, put in the comments for us.
Yep. Would like to know about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I would be sort of anxious if it were Netflix, because Netflix has gotten that reputation for doing one and out on a lot of TV shows.
Well, I don't know there's a lot of TV shows that don't need more than one. But it's just a shame when you've got a show that you've really gotten involved in and it's just really good, and it gets that Netflix formula where they don't want to go long term with anything.
Yeah, when's Lock and Key coming back, for example? Yeah. All right, so there is our top 3 picks for last week. So what do we have going on this week?
All right, coming up this week. Now, this is the 5th Wednesday of the month, which traditionally means a pretty light shipment.
Okay.
And historically, you're going to get a lot of annuals. Now, EMoney and I don't really do the annual thing.
Not a big fan of annuals because, I mean, you're reading this ongoing story and you're enjoying it, and then they take a month off and hit you with this annual, which is usually a standalone story. And a lot of times the story is mediocre at best. Right. So you have to wait 2 months to get the next issue of the story you're reading.
So we passed on all the annuals. We did, however, we're going to order a giant-sized Spider-Man, the Chameleon Conspiracy, because we don't get Spider-Man on a regular basis. Every once in a while, I like to grab an issue just to make sure we're not losing touch with our boy Peter.
Okay.
Now, the ones we're looking forward to, it's all small press stuff, all independents. You've got crossover number 7 from Image.
Feels like it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a solid story from the get-go. It's just an interesting concept. I wish they would reach out and use more licensed characters.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't, but it would be very interesting if you got something besides Madman.
I mean, I remember back in the day where, comic book publishers could do crossovers willy-nilly whenever they felt like it.
Yeah.
But then, the big companies got involved, and now it's a little more red tape to get through.
Right. All right, you've got ENIAC number 4, the comic from Bad Idea. In spite of their shenanigans, their publication shenanigans and promotions, we still like their books. So we're getting number 4. That's the one about the supercomputer.
Right. Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. 2 Moons number 5. That's it's also Image, I think. It's about the Civil War supernatural piece. Really good art, really good writing in that one. Look forward to see what they do with this next issue. But the one I'm looking forward to the most, but also I'm dreading the most, is Redemption number 5.
Okay.
It's the last issue.
So, I've been enjoying Redemption more than Nuclear Family, and, we just talked about Nuclear Family, so hopefully Redemption, wraps things up a little bit better than that one did.
And if you talk about something needing a movie treatment, Redemption.
I mean, that should be a mini-series.
Linda Hamilton, somebody will be contacting you soon to play the Butcher.
Right. All right, so Redemption number 5, looking forward to it. All right, so head out to your local comic book shop, pick those up. All right, so I guess we got to head back out there into the garage with Thor.
He's not going to be happy to see us this time.
Let's pick him up and get going. All right, so we're back out here in the heat again with Thor.
It's hot.
Yeah, sorry I had to take you out from the air conditioning again, buddy. All right, so we got to make this pretty quick because it's hot. All right, so I have a Stump the Old Man question because we're counting down to Black Widow coming out in later this month in July. All right, so name 2 other comic book characters or movies that have been played by the actors who play the family members in Black Widow. The family member actors being, whoa, you okay? Family members actors being Scarlett Johansson, David Harbour, Florence Pugh, and Rachel Weisz.
I mean, Florence Pugh was in Little Women,
That's true.
but it's not a comic book.
Not a comic book role.
But she was excellent.
Yes, absolutely.
David Harbour was in Stranger Things, but also not a comic book until, well, it was, but not until after the fact.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, unfortunately, David Harbour, I'm going to give him credit for Hellboy, the relaunch, which I'm sorry, it wasn't the best Hellboy.
No.
But it wasn't his fault. You do what you get. You do what you can with what you got.
That's one.
Surely Scarlett Johansson's been in something. Wasn't she in The Spirit?
She was in The Spirit.
I'm sorry, Scarlett, but that's the first thing that came to mind. She's probably been in something better.
Yeah, with Samuel L. Jackson. You know, two people who have been a part of the MCU, but they got off to a shaky start in their comic book roles before that.
That was not a good role.
Yeah. All right, so that's two. Other ones that they've done have been Scarlett Johansson playing Major in Ghost in the Shell, a critically panned role because of the whitewashing. I remember in a award show they talked about great roles for Asian actors like Ghost in the Shell and Aloha, which was the one with Emma Roberts playing a someone of Hawaiian nationality. In the audience, you can hear Scarlett Johansson yell out. So there's that. Hey, buddy. There's that, and then you have David Harbour also played a small role as a character in Suicide Squad. Not very memorable, but he was there.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so there you have it. All right, comic lovers, that about wraps things up today. See, Thor's hot. He's tired. He's ready to go. All right, we're going to get back in the air conditioning soon, buddy. All right, so we have Black Widow coming out, Scarlett Johansson later in July. Looking forward to it. Our first Marvel movie in over a year. All set for that. You okay? It's okay. We're almost done. All right, and also don't forget to tune in for Loki later today on Disney Plus. Have episode 4. Anxious to see what happens. And don't forget to tune in for our reaction video as well. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Excelsior.
True believers, it's that time of year. Take care of your fur babies. I mean, you can see Thor ain't happy, and he's usually inside. Don't leave your dogs outdoors in this heat, especially without water. And if you have to leave them in a car, well, just don't.
Don't, no.
Don't leave them in a car. If you're going somewhere where you're going to leave them in a car, leave them at home.
Yeah.